Okay, just got off the plane, Chicago O'Hare. Great conference with JCI, Nashville, Tennessee. Looking forward to the KMC Genius Conference here in Chicago.
And smarter than your players, they're going to make me look good as a coach. 75% of their job is to recruit, develop, and retain top talent. You are fooling yourself, business leader, if that's not your number one goal, to recruit, develop, and retain top talent.
It's a family-owned business. We love it there. That's one of the things about KMC. You know, people don't really leave. We're a family. We stand behind each other. We support each other. It's nice at KMC because in some of the larger companies, it's hard to get past that front line. But we all work together, so it's not necessarily just customer service, the people picking up the phones and processing the orders, or the tech support guys taking the calls. You know, we're more than happy to get people hooked up with, you know, our engineering team and our product development team, and it's just a huge family, and customer support is all what we're all about.
Walter Bond was kind of
He was awesome, wasn't he? Yeah, he was awesome.
Hey, Eric Stropwitz with Walter Bond. Walter, thank you so much, man. You just did the opening keynote speak. You just were the opening keynote speaker, and I got to tell you, man, great messaging. It's huge. One of the things you said that I've never heard before is the importance of likability.
Yes.
Speak about that just real quick to our control.
Yeah, well, I think it's powerful. I think Oprah Winfrey has likability. I think Charles Barkley's likable. I think it's very important for smart people to understand how important likability is. Likability people, they attract people, and they also, when they screw up, you get mercy and you like them. So I want to encourage anyone to be likable. There's no benefit to being a jerk.
Conquest here. We're day one at the KMC. I like to call it the Genius Summit. I think it's what you call it too, but it's also putting you in command, right?
Mm-hmm. Command your future.
Command your future. So Tim, man, great stuff. Talk a bit about the theme of this year's business conference.
So what we're wanting to do is we want to help people not only focus on working in their business, but we want to work on their business. And Commander is an excellent opportunity for them to kind of branch out what they've normally done, and to stretch their capabilities, to give them new opportunities. And while we're giving them this great sales training, and we motivated them this morning with Walter Bond, that was awesome. And now we want to fire them up to step into IoT, and we believe that KMC Commander is the solution to help them do that.
Well, great. We just heard a great presentation from Richard Newberry, and you guys have done some unique stuff. You've partnered with Intel and Dell, among other things, with this Commander product. And what I'm hearing, and this thing will probably be repeated over and over, it's a very scalable solution.
Yes.
It's open and it's secure, which, you know, Ken and Smyers and I are always talking about cybersecurity and how people are coming in through the building automation control system. So it seems like you guys got a very high degree of security with this product as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, security is very important. You know, we're talking upwards of 50 billion devices by 2020, and so that's just more opportunities for the bad guys to do bad stuff. And so we're staying ahead of that, and we got a great team. Intel and Dell are excellent partners.
So Dell has developed a framework from an IoT perspective. Actually, if you pan in on my little slide there, we provide a framework that connects the things, aggregates them at the edge with our gateway, hence KMC's involvement with us. They're building their Commander product on the gateway. Nice little logo there. Yeah, right. The gateway is connect as another layer of security, right? So our whole security portfolio that Dell offers is world-class, industry-leading, and it's IT-centric, right? So where IT and OT are converging, we need the stuff on the IT side to keep it all safe, but the OT guys don't have to worry about the security and somebody hacking into a sensor and getting into the network. So,
Our internal team just constantly is on the forefront of everything we're doing, whitelisting, encryption, all this that's leading edge. So
You really sort of seem to embrace it instead of going from the control side to the IoT side. It almost seems like you guys are starting at the IoT of things and thinking, how can controls fit into IoT as opposed to the other way around? Is that a fair statement?
I think it's a fair statement. I think the point is that if you look at IoT, it's all about data that I'm pulling up from something. It could be a sensor, it could be a status, it could be just information that's financial or something else. But all of that information becomes correlated someplace.
Right.
An analyst puts it together and says, what's the value of this if I combine these various aspects? IoT at this point is really driven towards the data that's physical data, because they can make a correlation and has a rate of return at this point.
Right.
As we emerge, and so we obviously fit that space. That's what we do. We're managing building and physical data. So obviously our thing is we've already got that infrastructure and that methodology to grab that data. Now how do we make that available to some other platforms that want that data? Whether it's a financial decision or whether it's a process decision or an energy decision, we now have the ability to pull the data so that someone can correlate those into some usable action item.
So it's almost like you could almost call the commander the correlator, for lack of a better term, because it seems like, first of all, it's a control system, it's a platform, and it's an IoT correlator, for lack
That's a
of
good way to describe it.
Yeah,
it is a good way to describe it.
And then I think what's impressed me after this presentation is just the power in it, because we talk about the scalability and the affordability. That seems to be one of the key features here. Is it's something that's very, very affordable to get into, but it's something you can grow with and scale.
That's true. And that's exactly it. The other thing, too, that's really key in the way we're approaching it is because we already have sort of mastered that lower level infrastructure at the physical level, so we have some advantages in that point. But what you see in most IoT spaces is they have slices of it. They have a middleware, or they have a piece of hardware, or they have a sensor. So what we really have done is solve the problems of how do I implement those various pieces, because we're combining all of the pieces, which is middleware, transportation layer, security, scalability, web, all of those things in one package. So someone doesn't have to figure out how those devices and those pieces talk to each other.
Right. So it just puts it all together. Now, the other thing, too, like that you guys have mastered, and other people that have automation systems have, too, but I think as we see people from the IoT space coming into the automation space, you guys have mastered the temperature control and the control strategy.
Right.
So can't underestimate that. That's a huge piece. The other thing that really impresses me is speak about the security, because you guys are partnering with Intel and Dell, and one of the trends that we're tracking, Kelly, is we're tracking the fact that cybersecurity is no longer an option. You have to be paying attention to that. Talk about how Commander sort of addresses that.
Well, when you look at security, you have to look at both physical layer security and World Wide Web access security. And so we address the physical layer in really the platform itself and in the operating system, so that we've protected it from intrusion from an on-site attack. Somebody puts in a USB into a system or whatever. So we're addressing that through white labeling and some other methodologies, so that we've identified what's acceptable on there. And if you try to hack it or put something on or switch out a part, we basically block you and shut you down. You're out.
Nice.
The other idea is that the communication layer with the cloud is really the interface. We have the UIs and the pieces that reside there actually replicate themselves on site or in the cloud. But really, from a user standpoint, you're really only talking to the cloud all the time. Point is that you're never getting to the physical layer infrastructure, which is where the risk is. So we can manage the security level, the access level, the users, whoever it is, and protect that, and we isolate them from that physical layer. So that's another really important point. And that's really important when you start looking at mobile applications, because they inherently are insecure.
Right.
The other piece is, how do we solve that from an IT? Is we're not asking for a VPN. We're not giving you an open hole in the wall for somebody to probe to see if they can get into your networks and figure out how to, if we can penetrate them.
Right, and then Intel and Dell's got their little secret sauce in there too.
And they have the pieces which are hardware related that are security related. And Snappy, the operating system, It's
Yeah.
designed for this. It's
Oh, yeah.
designed for IoT. It's configured to allow you to write those security methodologies into that system.
Well, I tell you what, the other thing is really cool. We've been talking about reoccurring revenue. We've talked to integrators. You know, Controltrends, we track these trends. It's like, you know, you're going to have to get reoccurring revenues. The SaaS model, software as a service, reoccurring revenues. But I think you guys got a new one. I'm going to call it right now. I'm going to call it CAS, Controls as a Service, right? Because, you know, bottom line, it seems like with these price points, you could put the controls in and then sell the software as a service afterwards. So you guys might be setting a whole new precedence here.
We have approached it differently in the sense that everything is not a service. I guess I think about it from a customer standpoint. If I'm buying a service, what happens when I don't want that service anymore? I have to have a ready application to fill that hole. Well, every software person in the world knows that's really a challenge because that transition is huge. It's a very significant effort, whether it's, you know, an ERP system or something else. It's a significant transition. So really what we've done is they own it. It's the ongoing pieces of the service and developmental applications that they might want to do. And they can do it themselves. So you really are buying a little piece of both. You know, you've got the software, you've got the hardware, and if you decide to cut the service, it's still there and it's going to work tomorrow.
Nice.
So it's a little bit of a different choice.
Take over business, and here's why. You actually listen. You actually care. And you actually pay attention to details.
Behind every great company, you have great customer support people. And I tell you what, Tracy Knavel from KMC is, everybody I talk to says, you got to talk to Tracy if you want to know about great customer support and great customer service. So Tracy, tell the Controltrends community a little bit about what they can expect if they deal with KMC and sort of your philosophy on great customer support and service.
Okay. Actually, it's pretty simple. Our philosophy is we just really spend a lot of time with the personal relationship part of it. I know in today's world we're really getting focused on the whole IoT thing and you know, there's not much human interaction anymore, but we feel that that's still very key to our relationship with our customers. So we pride ourselves on that, and both our customer service and tech support staff get to know our customers even on a personal level. You know, we like to know about their families and their kids and how they spent their weekend. That's just kind of who we are.
Change and how you handle it is exactly what's going to spell your success.
Organization to grow. I'm kicking my competition butt because I learned how to sell.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am not here with Matthew McConaughey. I'm here with a much more handsome version and smarter version of Matthew McConaughey. I'm here with Mitch Keeler, VP of Sales for KMC Controls. Hey, Mitch, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us.
Yep, anytime.
You guys are just knocking it out of the park. This is like the nicest hotel I think I've ever been at. The speakers have been off the chain. From a VP of Sales perspective, what are you thinking about all this?
Happy we haven't been kicked out yet, for one, but it's been a great event. Happy to have everybody here. Everybody's been very receptive to the conversations we've been having, and I think it's been great.
Well, I tell you what, the Commander product is looks like it's just going to revolutionize the market. I mean, you got to be thrilled with that from a sales perspective.
Yep, we're happy to finally get it out to the market. I think we're in a good spot with it, and bringing something unique to offer out to the contracting market, and looking forward to seeing what people can do with it.
Well, absolutely. And then, one of the themes seems to be selling the services afterwards, getting the reoccurring revenue. And from what I'm understanding about the Commander, it seems like it's going to be affordable enough that integrators and contractors might be able to actually put that in in lieu of getting a service contract for maybe 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's another way to get our customers in front of their customers, and it's adapting to the market. Everybody's going to that managed services theme on the software side, so bringing the hardware to that level is just a natural progression.
Now let's talk about riding the waves without getting wet, guys. It really, when change comes at you, and if you remember, we go back to the change units I talked about, as all of these change units start to bombard you. It's kind of like body surfing in the ocean.
Trump was here. I'm with Luis Alvarez. Luis just gave an awesome talk here at the KMC conference. So I would try to put it in words, but I got you here. So a little bit what you think. What are you seeing in our space, and what are you seeing overall in the IoT of things, Internet of Things?
Well, what I'm seeing, and the reason I was really interested in participating today is that the world of IT and OT, those traditional separations that have always existed, are merging. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that OT is getting smarter, and there's ability now to make those controls, which used to be generally kind of foolproof, that you just put them in and they work. Now people want to do more with them. So they're adding technology, they're wrapping around more smarts on those things, and that's going to make it more complicated. And on the IT side, what we're saying is that our clients are starting to focus more on that stuff as a differentiator. This is how I can improve my business, this is how I can make my business better. And the traditional IT space that we've been playing with, which is servers and workstations and networking and all that stuff, that's slowly disappearing as the cloud consumes a lot of that business. So for those of us in the IT space, we have to embrace IoT or else we're going to be left behind. And I'll argue that if you're in the OT space, you have to do the same thing, because you're going to now be faced with a lot more complicated world than you're used to dealing with, different levels of sophistication. Just the terminology alone is going to be new, and there's an opportunity for us to work together and be successul.
Well, I think the key thing, and you and I both have the distinct privilege of living through the bust of the late 1990s. So I mean, you were doing technology. What I understand, you sold out at the right time, at the height. You at the height. So I mean, that to me gives you tremendous credibility to me, because what you're saying is, hey, it's shifting again, and the wave is taken off. You've got to be willing to change, but you can get on this. Customers are asking for these things to be connected, and so one of the trends you seem to be talking about is, hey, get on board where you get reoccurring revenue. Speak a bit about that, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, when I started my current company, one of the things that we really wanted to do was focus on the services side of things, because in my former company, I had seen that there was this trend towards services away from kind of the solution selling, where you just sold the package deal and walked away from it. And we wanted to get into the recurring revenue business. How do we approach our clients and have them pay us every month to provide them some level of service? And over the last 15 years, we've, to the extent that we can, have perfected that to the point where 3/4 of the revenue that we generate all comes from recurring revenue. Those invoices go out the first of the month, and they're paid by the end of the month, and I'm good. And we focus on that business. We focus on building that business by providing our clients the value of, hey, we're going to maintain your environment. We're going to make sure it works. We're going to make sure that it continues to improve. We're going to continue to make you better, and it's not going to cost you more than X. And they like that. They know that they're paying a flat fee for all the services that they can consume, and they can budget for that. So it's a great relationship when you can find that perfect balance between what their needs are and what you can afford to charge.
Part of that, from an accounting perspective, is now it comes out of the CapEx budget, out of the operational budget instead of the CapEx,
right?
Which I'm not an accountant, but that's a good thing if you can move it over. So I think we're going to see the trend of more and more people, even to maybe even controls, being leased instead of sold.
Absolutely. I mean, we're becoming an as a service society.
Yes.
Right. So rather than going in and buying something, you prefer to just pay for the usage. Yeah. They call it the gig economy, right? Where if I want to drive a car, I just pay for the time I drove the car and leave it there, and somebody else takes the car, and I'm done with it. The same thing holds true with businesses today, because they don't want to spend a lot of money, millions of dollars to invest in just getting started. The Internet of Things, the cloud, all of these new technological revolutions has created an environment where you can start a business with virtually no money as long as you can afford the month-to-month, right? So if you can go in and say, I want to replace all of the stuff in my building, and I want to get the latest and greatest, but I don't want to spend $200,000 doing it. I want to spend $5,000 a month forever. And I, as a provider can say, yeah, I'll take that on. I'll give you all of this stuff. I'll manage it. I'll maintain it. $5,000 a month for the next 10 years. If you do the math, you're making a lot more money.
You're making a lot more. That's where the next gold rush is, right there. So tell our Controltrends community real quick what your company does and how they can get hold of you if they're looking for your type of services.
Sure. So Alvarez Technology Group, we're based in Salinas, California, and we're an IT managed services provider, basically catering to clients in the small to mid-sized business space. And feel free to reach out to me at lalvarez@alvareztg.com or give me a call at 866-784-8326.
Awesome. Thanks so much, my friend.
You're welcome.
Just here with Richard Newberry, the CEO of KMC Controls. Richard, we're at day 2 of the KMC Genius Conference. I love that thing, and I guess the theme is Command Your Future. So speak about that if you would.
Sure. Well, the theme is Command Your Future, and we're really here to help our partners command their future. We're here to help them make sure they're in a position to grow their top line and their bottom line. So we're focusing on getting them to understand they need to work on their business, not just in their business, because most business owners and leaders don't take the time to do that. So they need to practice more. It's kind of like practicing. Think about your vision and put a plan together that you can really execute. So, and it really ties in well with Commander. That's our IoT solution that really is a platform for our customers to command their future, to be able to build recurring revenue, managed services. So, and the managed services the margins on managed services are 4 times what you get on selling equipment. So we feel for people who really want to optimize their potential and growth and sales and profits, managed services is the way to go. And we think new technologies are making that possible in our commercial building space. And we want to be the leader in helping our system integrators be the leaders.
Well, I tell you what, it's fantastic. You guys are doing things first rate. If you've never been to a KMC Partners meeting, I tell you what, this is one of the nicest hotel I think I've ever been in. I was reading in the book a little bit about the German architect that designed this, and it sort of speaks, I think, to the quality and service you guys have. It's not lost on me. Best service, best hotel we've ever been in, and you guys are here, and you have us here. So thank you for your hospitality with that. The speakers you've had have just been phenomenal. From Walter Bond, the basketball player yesterday, and what he had to say, to Mike Harrigan and what he has to say. So great stuff. I think you're making us all better business people. Anything else you care to add about the conference?
Well, again, I echo your thoughts. I mean, the speakers were great. I love Walter Bond, and he's such a likable guy. And I think I wanted people to leave here fired up and go away with some tools they could put into their business to optimize their growth. And hopefully we're delivering.
Oh, I think you guys are. Richard, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, I got to compliment Tim, too, because Tim, I don't know whether your official title is marketing manager or not, but I know you're involved with the marketing at KMC. KMC does a great job. Your websites, the email blast you do. How do people, if they're not familiar with KMC, how do they get sort of tagged in with you guys so they can keep up with what's going on?
Sure. What I would say is go to KMCcontrols.com and you can contact us on our Contact Us page. Visit KMCcommander.com, and at the very bottom, if you have any questions about Commander, that's a great way to do it. We're starting some new email blasts soon. We've got our blog up and going soon. New webinar series. There's going to be a lot of great content, and so just keep an eye out for all that information. We'll be sending it out.
And I'm pretty sure that Tim is going to have an entry into the Controltrends Most Impactful Video of the Year, so I'm looking forward to see what he comes up with, because you guys have so many great videos already.
There will be something. No
and he's a camera guy, too. I love his camera stuff. So, all right, buddy, thanks a lot. Wave to their Controltrends community, say hi. Here we go. High five.